Morning, everyone. We want to thank everybody for joining us today at the April Richardson Chamber of Commerce Growth and Mobility Luncheon. My name is Tyler Fair. I'm the second-year tri-chair. I work for Texas Bank and Trust, and our other two tri-chairs are on the line. We have Stephen Crawford with Half Associates, and also Deborah Carroll with Bland Garvey CPAs. Our sponsor today is Texas Bank and Trust. This morning, we're going to be learning a little bit about the DART Silver Line. We have Chris Walters, who is the Community Affairs Representative with DART. Chris has been working in community affairs for DART for 11 years, but he has been with the company since 2003. He's the representative for Richardson, Plano, and parts of Dallas, including downtown Dallas and North Dallas. He graduated from Baylor University and lives in Rockwall. So with that, we will turn it over to Chris and let him take it away.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I am really happy to be here today with you all, and I hope everyone was ready for that little cold snap last night. I wasn't. I am in full spring summer mentality mode, and so when the cold wind came blowing in last night when I was playing with my kids, I just felt resentful to nature itself for betraying me once again. So between the snow we had and then this, I'm ready for summer. And I'm hoping everyone is doing well and staying safe. I look forward to the days and times that we could have meetings in person again. And I do see that on the horizon. So yes, we are going to talk about the Silver Line today. And let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. I have a small team on with me today. I was joking with Shannon. I said, don't worry. I'm not going to, get too many cooks in the kitchen here and bring drag a party of 20. But I do have a few individuals with me. I have someone with Archer Western Herzog and someone from our PMOR team and someone from government relations. So I wanted to cover every base for any questions that may come up today. For those of you, and I'm sure there is a definite group of you who have probably attended our quarterly meetings, you will recognize some of this material. And we are working on our next quarterly meetings that we are going to be having with everyone. So stay tuned. We will have more. So I hope I don't put anyone to sleep with any information if you've already seen it. But again, if you have any questions after the presentation, we will be more than happy to answer anything you have. And if we don't have an answer for you today, we will get back to you very soon. And let me go ahead and share my screen. I've told Shannon I'm a little bit more familiar with MS Teams. So for whatever reason, okay, can everyone see my material? Okay, I see some nodding heads. Okay, very good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I think, and let me go click on the screen. Okay, there we go. Yeah, two of me on the screen. That's a little bit too much. And by the way, if any of you all hear this landmine of a miniature dachshund who is hiding underneath my chair go crazy, and I have to immediately jump up and run out with the dog, please excuse me. She likes to sneak in under my chair sometimes when I'm presenting and then wait till the doorbell rings and go nuts. So I apologize. I didn't know she was there until just now when my foot hit her. So there is our email, silverline@dart.org. You can submit any questions, comments, concerns you may have, and we will get back to you. There is my phone number is on there. I've been working remotely, like many of you all. I've been working remotely for a year. But I do check my voicemails, and hopefully word on the street is we may be going back soon in some capacity. I'm excited about that. So there's the email and my number. So we're going to do a little overview first of the project for anyone who is new to this and might not know as much about the Silver Line. But this is a major feat in transportation, going through many cities. Great for the Dallas area, east to west. We have so much north and south transit here. So it's going to be great to now connect the dots, connecting new cities, going from Plano to DFW Airport. It's going to be wonderful for people in Richardson and Plano who have been using the Orange Line or have been wanting to use the Orange Line to go out to DFW. But sometimes, like I've been told in person, I really want to use DART to get to the DFW Airport, Terminal A there, but I just can't stomach an hour and 50 minutes, going all the way through downtown Dallas and back up to the airport. And some people, they just love transit, and like myself, and the train ride is part of the joy. But for some people, they say, I just can't do it. So this is going to cut that down in half. It's going to be wonderful for everyone who's trying to get out to the airport. So let's go ahead and start here. Now, I don't think you all can see my cursor. Can you? I'm sorry. I've only given, you can see it? Cool. All right. That's a one up on MS Teams. I'm always having to do, we do everything in MS Teams at Dart, and no one can see my cursor. So I have to kind of try to, lead everyone through it. So here we go. We're going to start over here at the airport. And this is going to be going into Terminal B. So now we'll have the orange line in Terminal A. We'll have the silver line going into Terminal B. If you're looking for C and D, I'm sorry, I don't think we can help you there, but DFW Airport does have their little tram to get you around the rest of the airport. It moves then north to DFW North Station. And that is going to be a hub where you can get on the Tex Rail, head on out to downtown Fort Worth. And Tex Rail, I have not actually been on the train or ridden the line, which is a tragedy for my life. But one of these days I'm going to get out there and do this, because it really is kind of the precursor to what we're doing. And it's really going to be wonderful to think that you can get all the way from CityLine there in Richardson, all the way to downtown Fort Worth seamlessly, or well, almost seamlessly. You will have to jump on the Tex Rail there at DFW North. And as you move east, we then move into the Cypress Waters area, an area that until this project, I didn't know that was even going on out there. And another one of these examples in the Dallas area of a wonderful development of work, play, live, and having just a great place to set up shop, especially with all the people who are coming here from all over the country. And so now they will have their own station there at Cypress Waters. We move through Capel, and then here, this line right here is where CB1 ends and it goes into CBD2. Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Everyone probably remembers this was the Cotton Belt, and that was our, that's the historic name of this line. So that's how this thing was segmented, and of course, marketing rebranded it to the Silver Line. Doesn't make sense to have red line, blue line, orange line, green line, Cotton Belt. So it was then turned to the Silver Line. So we then move into the Carrollton area, and that's going to be our first north, south, east, west connectivity there at downtown Carrollton Station. Really exciting because, right north of that, you also have the A train leading up to Denton. And so it just shows the growth that is going on. And I always hear about how Denton is growing. And so having that hub right there, between there and CityLine, those are two really exciting. I don't want to say that the other stations on this line aren't exciting, but when you think of the possibilities there, it's really great. So it's going to then move east. We will go through Addison. Addison finally gets to join the family of rail cities, and we already had our transit center there for the Addison station, but our Silver Line station will now be adjacent to the bus transfer center. So that's great for Addison, all the commerce that goes on there, people trying to get in and out from the airport. Crosses the tollway there, and then goes into North Dallas. And then we have the Knoll Trail station right there on the other side of the toll road. And then as we move east through North Dallas, we then, as you can see, we're getting into your all's neighborhood in your neck of the woods here with UT Dallas Station. So excited about this. I have a lot of great pictures of the stations to show you all for UT Dallas and CityLine. And, before this whole pandemic thing started, and I used to, this time of year, I would go out to UTD and do the Earth Day events and talk to all the students, and they would get so excited knowing that they were going to get a station until I told them the year that it was going to be happening. And they're like, well, I graduate next year. And I could just see the disappointment and their excitement drain. And I just had to apologize, say that, they can come back as alum now and experience it. So that is going to be so great for UTD. And I always joke that if you're a student or you're injured, it's good to be on DART because we have so many hospitals and colleges now along the line. So you have options now. We have so many schools and hospitals, and it's great that we can connect the dots like that. So UTD gets to join that club. And we move east now to CityLine Bush, and of course that is going to be super exciting. with the red line, the orange line, and now the silver line all connecting there at what I like to say is really the coolest new development of the DFW Metroplex. And, you know, like I was saying before the presentation, I used to live in Richardson. And, you know, my first child actually came home to Richardson. I always tell him that too. I want everyone to know here that even though he came to Rockwall when he was only 3 months, I say, you're a Richardson native, and don't you ever forget that. And I'm very excited to see how CityLine, that whole area has grown, and with the bridge that's going to be going over 75 and the connectivity there, it's just going to get even better. We then move north across the George Bush Turnpike to 12th Street, and we have a couple stations there. We'll be adding a station along the current light rail, and then there will be connectivity to the adjacent 12th Street surface station, or yeah, right next to it. And then we'll move east to Shiloh Road. Shiloh Road is the terminus station, and you know, we actually own the tracks all the way out to Wiley. But you know, unfortunately, Wiley's not part of the DART service area. So, but you know, never say never for down the road. But for now, we stop at Shiloh Road, and that's where everyone will be coming in from Murphy and the surrounding areas to park and use transit. So thank you for listening to me. I like maps, so I kind of sometimes drag on the maps too long. It is a 1.266 billion design build project. 26 miles that we just talked about: Addison, Carrollton, Capel, Dallas, Grapevine, Plano, Richardson. 10 rail stations with 4 rail connections: green, orange, red light rail, and the text rail. Right now, we are scheduled for a June 2023 revenue service. You know, we were scheduled for the end of 2022, but there were some design changes there at Coit and Hillcrest, which required extra work and funding. And so it did have to unfortunately get pushed back. A lot of people said, oh, COVID did it, but no, COVID didn't do it. COVID gives you headaches, or has given us headaches, you know, when it comes to meeting and doing things, but it didn't affect the construction of the service or the project. The design build for Silverline is 72% complete as of February 1st, 2021, and the vehicle design is 100% complete as of October 22nd, 2020. And we'll have some wonderful pictures to show you. So what is design build for anyone here who's not familiar with that? It's an alternative project delivery method used in the construction industry. It's a method of project delivery in which an entity, in this case, Archer Western Herzog, works under a single contract with a project owner, DART, to provide design and construction services. And I have not been involved with working on past lines, but from what I understand, I've been at DART for a while, but I have not gotten to, this has been my first project to really, I've been working on D2 for years, but you know, obviously we're not as far along with D2 as we are Silverline. And so from what I understand, this is a great project delivery method because you're dealing with one entity, and we're not dealing with the designers plus the builders. And so so far everything's working great, and I have nothing but great things to say, and Archer Western Herzog is doing a wonderful job. So this is our scheduling right now. As you can see, here we are in, hard to believe, April 2021. And, you know, back in 2019, it was all about the meetings, betterments, art design. We'll talk about that kind of stuff in just a minute. And of course, our quarterly meetings, they've been going on throughout this entire process. But then it then went from, you know, design to the construction getting underway towards the end of 2020, and now you know, we are working hard, and Archer Western's working hard out there along the line. And a lot of people ask me, why did you start on one side, or you starting on the other? But it's all over. We are doing work all along the line. There's so many facets of this project, between stations, bridges, tracks, utilities. They are hitting it at all places along the line. And so as you can see, it's going to be heavy construction. And then as we wrap up towards the end of 2022, then we'll have our service testing, and then get everything ready for revenue service in 2023. Let's go ahead and get started looking at some of these wonderful pictures of what's coming to your all's neck of the woods. And as time goes by, our renderings are getting better and better. But here is a nice aerial. If you're flying a traffic helicopter over this, what you would see. And again, I think everyone here is excited to see this bridge, the trapezoidal arch with white paint bridge as it's constructed. And of course, once it's finished, I look forward to that. How many times have you all seen this as you're driving up the highway, and it's going to just it's going to really change things, change the landscape for Richardson in such a great way, I think. And just letting you all know that if I go too fast, if this is stuff that you all want to view later or share, this is material that I can share with you all. And so don't worry if I move past it and you're like, I wish I could have seen that a little bit longer. Don't worry, it's not lost forever. This is here Renner Road at the intersection. As you can see there, that's the tracks with a wall going over Renner there. And here's Custer Parkway. Again, if anyone has any questions, please just remember to have those towards the end, and we will do our best to answer any questions you may have. Here's a rendering of Custer. Okay, so now we're going to move to UTD, the Dallas station, UTD station, and as you can see here, this is the layout of the station and the parking, and it's really exciting. I got to go out there not too long ago, and we had a meeting with some UTD staff and some other entities that are out there with us, and they're building on one side with the apartments, and the work is going to be going on there for the Silver Line, and it's just really exciting to see what is going to be happening there for the UTD students and the surrounding neighborhoods as well. So, I mean, it is the UTD station, but it's going to be such a big boon for the whole area there. It's going to be awesome. And I won't go through all these station benefits and all this kind of stuff. But again, all this is on our website, and I can provide this to you after the presentation. Or after today. So here are some more renderings of what UTD will look like. And I've always gotten comments that people love the nighttime pictures, something about the glow of the lights. It's exciting to see. But both of our stations there, really all the stations along the city line, the Silver Line, had a wonderful art design program. And again, like I've said, this is the first line that I've gotten to really, get down to the weeds on, and I got to be part of the art and design process. And it was a great experience. And, between the committee that I worked with at CityLine and the committee that I worked with for UTD, watching them and the artist work together on how they want the station to look. DART has an art and design program that goes beyond the Silver Line, goes on for all of our stations. A lot of people, when you first, glance at a DART station, like, oh, there's another DART station. But if you actually get out and walk around, you look at the pavers, the columns, the fencing, every station has a unique look and feel. Some of them have art pieces, and that's going to be the same thing with these stations. They're going to have their own unique feel, look and feel for what is going on right there at the station. And of course, at UTD, there's nothing bigger than UTD. So it's going to be a very UTD a flavored station. You can see those columns. Those are some of the neatest looking columns I've seen, and I've been around to a few DART stations, and nothing against some of our other columns, but I really like those. And it's going to be a great looking station for students, faculty, anyone who's coming there for a meeting. You're going to see this wonderful UTD art piece, kind of like a beacon, right there between the school and the station. And some of our renderings have changed to show you some more of the landscaping that's going to be going in. That's been a process with art and design, is not just the art, but also what the landscaping is going to look like at all these stations. So we try to make sure that all the landscaping fits in with what works here in the North Texas area. Unfortunately, the palm plants that my previous homeowners planted at my house didn't survive the snowstorm. So now I've got these ugly, dead-looking palm plants in front of my house, and they really so great until now. So what we want to do is make sure that everything that we have at our stations works and looks good for years to come. Here is another nighttime picture of UTD. Here you can see here some of the fencing and the logos that have been placed around the station, and how wonderful this is going to look when it's all said and done. Okay, now we're going to move on to CityLine Bush. And as you can see, there's some of the, the station facts and the station benefits. But, this station, it's going to be it's going to be a tight fit in there. We're going to be right there between the existing station and the apartments. But between the residents there, State Farm, the restaurants and shopping that is continually growing there, this is a very, very exciting flashpoint for transit in the DFW area, and it's just going to really just increase the stock of that whole area on what's going on there. So I had an art design meeting there at CityLine back before the pandemic, and I was walking around and I was like, man, if this had been around in my 20s, I would have lived there. That was so cool. And so it's gonna be really neat having another rail line there to call home at CityLine. And so here's an aerial there of what that's going to look like. So it is going to be definitely a hub of transit. And we will talk about a little bit of construction here soon in this presentation, because I know that there are people here aware of the construction that's going on, that's taking place there at CityLine. Kind of right now as we speak. So things are getting rolling. Like I said, this year is all about getting that ball rolling, and we're getting our ball rolling there for sure. Here you can see here some more renderings. If you can kind of see the arch here, and here's the silver line, and you have the light rail over here. Just again, different views of wherever you are at the station, which you can expect to see. And there's George Bush, so we're facing north right here. Here you can see some of the landscaping and these little arches kind of complement the big arch of the bridge that's going to be going over 75. So again, had a great committee here for CityLine Bush. Took a little tour of the area surrounding CityLine and looked at all the the nature and everything. So we wanted it to reflect on what's going on, even though you've got this kind of little urban landscape that's popped up there. There's still so much nature that is around the immediate area of CityLine. So we definitely wanted to have kind of a green feel there. And you see that in some of these the fencing here. So keeping true, because I remember it being nothing but fields over there. And I even was talking to someone who said they remember hunting many years ago there where CityLine is. I will not reveal the gentleman's name or his age, but it still blows my mind that people could be hunting there. So yeah, that was a while ago. Okay, now we're going to touch on the hike and bike trail. Now, just to let you all know, there are some things that are still being ironed out on design, and this is between the North Central Texas Council of Governments and the cities, City of Richardson being one of them. And so the cities are working with the COG for this major feat in hike and bike connectivity. And as this kind of gets finalized, we're going to have a lot more to share with you all at our future quarterly meetings, and of course offline as well. You don't just have to get your information from the quarterly meetings. That's where we like to kind of showcase it, but we'll have it on our website. And of course, you can always feel free to reach out to me directly or through Shannon, and we'll get you updates whenever you need it for you or your organizations that you work for, you want information for. But as you can see, this is going to be really something. I remember going out to the COG years ago because I've done a lot of work with Dart's Bike and Ride program, and Dallas has always gotten this bad rap for not being a very bike friendly city and area. And when you compare us to Portland and Boston, it's just almost not fair, really. But this is gonna really send us up a few notches. So go ahead and start training now, because as you can see, this is going to be a long trail, and to get from one side to the next, you're going to definitely need to be ready. But if not, that's okay, because you can always, if you bail, you can jump on the train with your bike and go back to your car and train some more and try it again next time. So again, we will have final information, but that's what it will look like. And to now kind of go in, from the sky view down here to, or the more satellite view down to what it would look like in person. Here you can see the silver line right here with the double tracking, the betterment walls, where there would be betterment walls. And of course, there are some betterment walls there in City of Richardson. It was a Richardson-led program. Along the other parts of the line, for instance, North Dallas, we worked with the residents adjacent to the rail to work with them on the walls, what kind of wall they would like, vegetation, the finish, the color of the wall, to kind of give everyone along this line a little bit of ownership on what these walls would look like. So when you're looking at these betterment walls, if you're not familiar with that, that's what the betterment walls are here on either side of the tracks. And then here you have the hike and bike trail, and then some little pedestrians right there. You have some vegetation. So as you can see, it's not just throwing a train on some tracks. There are different parts of this line have a little bit more going on than others, but this would be like the busiest part, between the betterment walls, and then of course with the hike and bike trail and the vegetation that you can see here. So if you have any questions, technical questions, you can always reach out to Kevin Cokes there at the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and your very own C. Richardson Jessica Shutt, and there are their emails and phone numbers, and they are great to work with. Jessica's, I think she's on here, so I wanted to plug that in. She's great to work with. So here is our Silverline vehicle. This is 100% done. I am sorry, I'm pulling up my little cheat sheet because I want to make sure. You think I presented this enough and I would have everything memorized, like the number of seats, but numbers were never my strong point. So I want to make sure I said the exact number of seats that are going to be on there. Here you can see we have our cab cars, passenger cars. We have the engine compartment there in the middle. These trains, kind of like our light rail, they can be driven or conducted from each side. So the conductor will be here, I'll get down to Shiloh Road, and our conductor will then move to the other side and take off the other way. The vehicle frequency of these vehicles, it is subject to change, but right now it is currently scheduled to be from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. It could be as early as 5 a.m. or as late as 11 p.m. With 30-minute peak and 60-minute non-peak, just to let you all know about the peak and non-peak. It's kind of like rush hours. Like for instance, right now with our light rail, between 5 and 9:30 a.m., our light rails run more frequently for the workload, and then after 9:30, it slows down until about 3:30 in the afternoon, and then it picks back up until about 6:30, and then it slows back down again. So that'll be the same here. Less frequency than the light rail vehicles, but the frequency changes are in the same ballpark. So to go into some details about what the interior of our car will have here, you can see some pictures of the seating in the entrance area. It's going to have 222 seats, includes 194 fixed seats and 28 flip-up seats. Some of the seats are arranged with a table in between 4 seats. It can accommodate up to 485 passengers. It has a wide entrance doorway with visual and auditory warning devices. It has low floor boarding. And for any of you all know that our light rail, we have one vehicle in between the 2 vehicles that has a low floor and the others have steps. This entire line will have low floor boarding, great for ADA accessibility, people with bikes, strollers, and such. We'll have the USB phone chargers for each seat. We'll have Wi-Fi. Very exciting. Sometimes those little things, they can be the most exciting, knowing that you don't have to worry about your phone dying or having to rely on your data that has run out for the month. Here you can see some of our pictures of interior lighting, overhead luggage carriers. We wanted to, one thing I realized once we opened up the orange line at the DFW Airport, people were saying, where do I put my luggage? And, this was one of those cases where we took existing vehicles and kind of equip them to, or weren't really able to equip them to go out to the airport and some of the fashion that people are used to when it comes to, having their huge suitcases with them. So now with years of planning, we have areas for your luggage to go. Not saying you can't get your luggage on the orange line, but sometimes you have to get creative, especially if you're going during one of our peak hours and there's lots of people on there. So I have plenty of luggage carriers. We'll have wheelchair accommodations, ADA accessibility, bike racks. Like I said, you'll need to use use that bike rack if you can't make the whole trail and you need to put your bike on there. So we're going to have a space for everyone, and there's going to be plenty of space on there. So here are some pictures of the vehicles being built right now. And these were, the design was completed in September 2020, and they were manufactured in Hungary and Switzerland. But they are being built as we speak right now in Salt Lake City. In fact, yeah, it's a little earlier there. So I'm sure they are working hard on these vehicles as we speak. And then they will be shipped to DFW in March 2022. So it's crazy to, think that these vehicles that we're all going to be on, they start like this. This is what they look like. So that everything has to start somewhere. But yeah, these are some pictures of what is going on right now as these vehicles are being unboxed and put together and worked on. Sounds like I'm talking about a table from IKEA, but I can promise you it's a little bit more intricate than that. I think everyone knows that here. It is pretty neat if you've been writing for transit for years to, this is, kind of see where it all begins. So construction activity, these are some of the vehicles, not all, but these are some of the vehicles you can expect to see out there: front end loaders, track hoe excavators, bobcats, motor graders, track loaders, backhoes, and cranes. And these are the vehicles that you'll be seeing now. We were always telling people for so long, these will be out here, but yeah, they're out there now. This is our 90-day construction schedule, and this is it's always a work in progress. It's always evolving. I will say that there are some changes to this because there at CityLine, we are working, we are doing demo work and doing work there now. So we didn't have time to update this slide for today's presentation. But as you can see here for the CityLine Bush, instead of June, the work is actually going on there now, and there's going to be demo work that's going to be going on there for a few weeks. And of course, we are going to adhere to the noise ordinance for City of Richardson, and working on that. So if anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. So this is something, again, that every 90 days we will update. We share with the public, and so it's a great kind of blueprint of the work that we're doing between the utilities and then what we're doing with stations, and it's a good place to see what's going on there in your area. Public access, very important. Maintaining business access, home and community access, emergency vehicles, and pedestrian access. It's one of these things that, we're building a line, but we recognize we're not building a line out in the middle of a bunch of, fields where no one is around. We are working next to where people live, where people work, their livelihoods. And so there's a mix there, trying to get the project done, but trying not to upset the balance too much. So we do our best to work hard, and we are doing it on a daily basis, working hard with stakeholders, businesses, and residents to mitigate if there is going to be some type of impact. And there are impacts. We'll work hard to try to make it as quick as possible, find routes around, and really make things as painless for everyone as possible. And these are some of the signs that you can see to help go along with that, with the detours, road construction ahead, with the electronic signage. If anyone ever sees any of these signs demolished or blown over from a storm or anything, please let us know. I'll have a construction hotline number to share with you all in a moment that you can call, and we'll get someone out there pronto to get those fixed or replaced. Here are some pictures that I want to share with you about some of the work that we're doing out there along the line. You can see between the rail delivery and offloading, grubbing and clearing, freight rail removal, utility investigation. Of course, some of this has come along from when some of these slides were put together, because things are moving so fast, and I'd say fast and furious. I don't want to give that movie a plug there, but it is working very well out there and moving fast. Some of the safety tips that are very important. Safety is a big thing, and because if you don't have safety, then what do you have? But really the biggest thing that I can put or I can let everyone know is make sure you're very careful. I worked in downtown for many years, and and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but please be careful around our existing rail, but also the construction sites, and just be very aware put down your phones, your tablets, take your earplugs out. If you're on a conference call and you're really into it and you're happening to walk across the line, just please be careful and actually don't do that. Make sure you just take a break and kind of know where you are, because downtown, I cannot tell you how many times there are people who are doing business meetings and business phone calls, and they about get hit by our trains constantly, and the trains lay on their horns. And luckily, the trains go very, very slow through downtown. But again, safety is paramount. So everyone just be careful out there and be aware when you are near any of our construction sites. Here's some more pictures, by the way, of some of the work that we're doing. There's Preston Road Bridge. There's welding a pipe for the Explorer's new pipeline, North Dallas Tollway and Knoll Trail. Here's grinding material cleared at White Rock Creek Trail near Knoll Trail. Out with some of the old vegetation, in with the new. Here are unloading some H piles at the new Mercer Yard in Carrollton. Looks like after a big rain they had there. As you can see, there's a different flavor of construction everywhere along this line. So it's an impressive feat. Placement of fresh concrete over rock berm there in Dallas. And of course, with all that work comes construction notifications. And that's something that we work really hard with, us and Archer Western Herzog. We do door hangers, emails, social media. We work with everyone around the stations and around where this work's going to be taking place. The future stations. We have our websites, project newsletters, the at-a-glance fact sheets. We have our community meetings, and then like this is what you would call this one of our stakeholder meetings that we're having with you all to help spread the word and interact with more people who might not be at our quarterly meetings. There's the project hotline that I was telling you about just a second ago. That's 972-833-2856. And that is the number you call when there is work going on out there along the line that you have a question about or a concern about. Call that number. That's manned by Archer Western Herzog, and they will get back to you promptly and get you taken care of. Here's an example of our project fact sheet. And every time I see this slide, it reminds me that it's time for glasses. But these are on our website, these pages. We have fact sheets for all of our cities, and they have really great information on there to let you know, what's going on. I don't think I have to tell anyone there in Richardson. It's not just about opening up a station and giving people the option to use transit, but it's the ability to have the transportation-oriented development around the station, which grows. And you can see how well Richardson has done this over the years, with every station just having booming transportation-oriented development, and really, in my opinion, kind of being the, that's what a lot of cities, not just in the Dallas area, but across the country, can kind of look at and say, man, that's maybe how we should do things when it comes to what we should do around our stations. So again, those fact sheets will tell you some of the numbers about that. Project newsletters coming soon, so we'll have more information to share there. Again, it'll be on our website. We have a lot of great information on our website. You can get as detailed as you want. We have our final environmental impact statement on there. So if you want some light reading, that is good for you. Okay, I joke there. It's like the Silverline Bible. It's very thick. And you can watch past videos, by the way, of our quarterly meetings if you want to get up to speed. So again, that would be at dart.org/Silverline. So if you just, you'd like to spend your weekend, this coming weekend, reading all about the Silverline, we've got plenty of material, plenty of videos for you to watch and get up to date on. You can email the Silverline at dart.org email, and we will get back to you. You can attend meetings virtually like this one. You can sign up for project alerts at dart.org/Silverline. There's that DART hotline again, 972-833-2856, and mail your community engagement representative. And every once in a while, I do get to drop into my desk, and I do have some mail sitting there for me. So yes, if you just like the old-fashioned way of mailing, you can mail it, and it'll get to me. And there is our presentation. And I know that was a lot of material that came at you. And we are open for questions now. And again, we will do our best to answer any questions you have. If we can't answer your question today, we will get back to you. But thank you for letting me rattle off all this to you and throw my own commentary. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing, Shannon, if that's okay. Am I turning this over to Tyler or Shannon?
Yep, it'll be me. I'll be
Okay.
helping out with Q&A. So
Okay.
thank you, Chris, for that presentation. Anybody that has any questions, if you could just put them in the chat, and I will see if I can get through most of them. Asking Chris, I know we already have a couple, so let me get to them. Chris, in what year was the concept of the Silver Line born?
Well, it's funny you said it because the Silver Line. Well, we'll then go back to Cotton Belt. This has been around a long, long time, much longer than when I was at DART. So I had to go back. Sometimes I have to talk to the people who've been at DART longer than me. As the years go by, it's getting less and less. I mean, I'm getting older, but the Cotton Belt line is the whole concept has been around since the 80s. The goal was, when everything was being planned, to have this be a rail line, and so it's always been in the background, talked about, and it was part of our future plans, 2040 and such. And then things worked out that we could open it much sooner. But yeah, the goal to have this as a rail line has been around since the 80s, so a very, very, very long time. So it's exciting that this thing is finally coming to fruition.
Chris, this is Dan Johnson. Let me just add to your answer, and that even as it was delayed in the construction, what was wisdom of DART was they bought this entire rail line back at that time when it was available. They bought the whole rail line from through North Dallas all the way over to DFW and all the way in towards downtown Fort Worth. So that purchase and securing of that right of way has been around that long, and just waiting for the capital development of the project. So great question.
It is, and that's the thing. It's one of these, like, kind of a visionary move, and because we own the tracks all the way to Sherman, and I remember people coming to me saying, "Hey, when are you going to build the line up to Oklahoma?" This was many years, and I was like, that just sounded so ridiculous to me that someone even asked me that. And then later, someone said, "We own the tracks all the way to Sherman," and I said, "You know what? Okay, maybe I should have looked at that person with such a kind of a almost a rolling eyes look." The fact that we own the Silver Line out to Wiley, we own the Red Line up to Sherman. These are things that it's looking down the road. So hoping that we can utilize all these tracks, but the Silver Line is a great head start on that. And I see chat questions coming in. But again, Tyler, I'll let you be moderator.
Yeah. So our next one from Mark Wolf is, for the commuter rails, are the station separations optimized, or could more be added in between with the city or neighborhood buy-in?
Okay, okay. Can you read that question one more time?
Yeah, for the commuter rails, are the station separations optimized, or could more be added in between the stations?
Is there more? What was that between? I'm sorry, my thing was breaking up there.
So basically, they're asking, the stations that are set up right now, can we add more in between those stations?
Oh, like deferred stations. Okay, so as of now, there are no plans for deferred stations. We just opened up a station called Hidden Ridge on the Orange Line, and that was what you call a deferred station. We have a few of those. Lake Highlands Station on the Blue Line, that's a deferred station. Again, these are stations that did not open up when the rail line was originally opened up, but the goal was to have those later. And as of now, I don't know of any plans for any deferred stations along the Silver Line. We did have a couple of stations that were going to open up there in the North Dallas area, Preston and Coit. Part of me, wonders, should I even go into that? But those stations were axed to make sure that we could keep on going with the line overall. But yeah, so nothing else deferred that's being planned.
All right. And here's a question from Stephen. What is the current largest obstacle or challenge that has to be overcome to bring this project to fruition?
Well, what I've learned in my time working with this is that there are a lot of moving pieces to this. When you're working with all the different cities, you're working with stations, residents, the betterment wall process. You throw in a hike and bike trail in addition to that, and it all comes together to it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of interaction with a lot of different entities to get everyone on the same page. And it's working, though. It's happening. But I think that's the thing is, every city and every neighborhood has kind of their own flavor of what is most important to them. And so, DART has to work really hard to make sure that it's progressing the line overall, but also addressing everyone's individual concerns and questions. That's kind of it's kind of macro micro, and it's you have to do that all the time on this. So I think that's in some ways that's a challenge, but it's a challenge that that DART and the cities and the stakeholders are all working together and making happen. It's not just it's a DART line, but cities have the ownership of this project as well, and we're working very closely with cities and everyone surrounding the areas to make this happen. So it's happening. It's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. It's a challenge that's working.
All right, this question from Nicole. There's a lot of potential in the CityLine area to draw tourism guests. Is there any work being done to create something in that area that would allow us to market the DART CityLine package to help bring in tourism dollars?
You know what? I think there's always a possibility of that. I'm looking at that question again to come up with the best answer I can. This is, again, I've already, I've sung the praises of CityLine. It is one of those, there's so many cool things about the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are getting easier and easier to sell to all the people who are visiting here or visiting here with the plan of moving here. CityLine is one of those things that could be shown off. And that's something that we can work closely with down the road on because our marketing department too. I don't have anyone from marketing on with me. I do have a few people on with me today. Marketing, I know, would love to work closely on this kind of stuff. DART and overall, economic development. But yes, that's something that we can work on more down the road.
This is Dan again. But also say that our Convention and Visitors Bureau, the ability for DART to begin to what I call stabilize this opening time, the revenue date. Certainly they're in construction now, but just in the next short while, as that date really I start feeling kind of good and solid and not likely that it's going to be shifting much more, I think you're going to get the excitement of many people beginning to try to start exploring packages, kind of more date certain ability to really talk about that. And certainly our Convention and Visitors Bureau will be a big part of that, because we know not only on that, but a quick one transfer down on Red Line down to some other hotel operations. So again, we do believe this is a portal strategy for the DFW, et cetera. So we will join with the hotel industry in our community very much as that comes along to kind of put those promotive efforts together. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Dan. I definitely, and I appreciate your help on that. See, it's a team effort. We're all in this together.
We have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, and I'm sorry. I was going to jump in because I got a private question about the estimated travel time from CityLine to the airport.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question.
You got that one too? Okay. So yeah, right now, if you were to jump on there at CityLine, it would take you probably about, give or take, depending on, how long trains are delayed at the stations or the connectivity. But about an hour and 45 minutes or so. Again, that's a tough one for some people to accept, but this is going to be about 45 to 50 minutes. So it is going to be, again, this thing is going to be cut in half, and it's going to be a much quicker trip out to the airport. And that's not just a 5% drop. I mean, that cuts the travel time in half. So, and then when you add in the fact that now you have a travel time that's not too much different than, what you would have if you had literally zero traffic, plus, the not having to pay for parking, you've got something that really now appeals to the people there in Richardson and also Southern Collin County, or really Collin County in general, as a way to get to the airport.
All right. Thanks, Chris. And then, when will the hike and bike trail open? Will this be at the same time as the Silver Line opening or afterwards?
Okay, there I want to because again we're working with the COG and the cities, and right now the COG and the cities are working on a lot of stuff, and then of course DART and Archer Western will be the ones to actually be out there building this this line. Marvin, is this where I can call you out of where you are in here? I just want to make sure I have some backup. Thank you, Marvin. This is Marvin Jackson, and he's with community relations with Archer Western Herzog. And I want to make sure I give the most accurate information possible, especially because a lot of people are moving their attention now to the hike and bike trail. They're like, okay, we know all about the Silver Line. What about the hike and bike trail that's coming down the road? So would you have anything that you can help me with on this one?
At this time, we've been Archer Western Herzog are working with Jacobs, our lead designer. All we have as far as scope with hike and bike trail is design. So that's to say, right now we don't have construction in the schedule, so we Archer Western don't have an answer to. Right now, the answer is no, it won't open at the same time because we don't have a construction portion of that contract. We just have design. So right now, it's not scheduled to open at the same time.
Okay, and thank you for Marvin for jumping on and help me with that. Because so yeah, more. Stay tuned. We will have more information and we will have it soon. This is the time is ticking and things are being worked on and decisions are being made as we speak. And there are some people that are on this meeting today who are making some of these decisions. So that's where this presentation is different than some of the others that I give to little neighborhood groups, because I have decision makers on this meeting today. And it was being made apparent to me as I was talking. I said, you know what? I want to be very careful with how I answer. So anyway, thank you for letting me get flustered there. But again, more to come on the hike and bike trail.
Hey,
But
Chris,
it's going to be exciting.
Jessica's here, and if you don't mind, I may let her just offer another sentence or two, because you're right about the partnership. And let me also say, you're doing a great job as one decision maker. I just want to tell you, we really appreciate our partnership with you. But Jessica's online here, and to everyone here, because of this partnership that DART is cooperating with, Herzog is assisting with, and with Jacobs on behalf of some of the design work. I want everyone to really understand that we do have visions and intentions around the trail. Jessica, you can take just a minute and just add one or two quick sentences to Chris's comment.
Yeah, absolutely. We are working closely right now with, like you said, with COG and Archer Western and Jacobs. We are in the design phase. They're hoping to get us 30% design by around May 21st. So we're working really closely with the designers on what that looks like right now. And then we are looking forward to how construction will look. Originally, we were hoping it would be able to go concurrently with the rail design, but just different challenges has kind of delayed that. So we're looking at, with COG, being able to construct some of the more challenging segments, mostly bridges, along the alignment, and then coming back and doing some of those pieces in between. So COG is working furiously trying to figure out how we come together with the project to try and build it as quickly as we can alongside the rail or quickly behind it. But right now we are heavy in that design process and trying to advance that as quickly as we can.
So everyone can at least be appreciating that there's coordination, so that we are thinking about trail as we're building construction now, so that later on that appendage doesn't become a conflict of design. Second thing is, we're really tracking some of the federal discussions on infrastructure and other kind of funding possibilities, and who's to say that we don't gain some real horsepower by some of the newer possibilities of funding. And so the COG and others are very vigilant right now in seeking out of some of these new sources any possibility to accelerate the funding and certainly to enrich the funding as well. So more to come on that, Chris, as you said, but I just want to add those couple of points. It's going to be a community interest as much to use that trail by the rail. And we have that habit already, because that's a big part of our red line, is the trail by the rail there, and really does gather commuters towards the station, et cetera. So good stuff. We think it's good urban planning, and we're certainly thick on that one as well.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Jessica.
All right, it looks like we have just 1 or 2 more minutes to take any questions. Are there any other questions out there?
Well, I got to throw in an economic development question. And first of all, I want to thank you, Chris, for a really, really informative presentation today. This is, things are getting close to happening, and we can kind of see the end game now. And so being able to actually, see the trains being built, the locomotives and so forth is really exciting. But what I wanted to ask you is this: back in the early days of the Silver Line planning, there was a study done that analyzed where most of the commuters would be going along the line. And the conclusion that I recall was most of them would be coming from the northwest part of the county over to the Richardson and Plano area where they would work. So do you know if that study has been updated, or do you have any other insights into the anticipated ridership of the Silver Line?
The ridership trends, that's a great question, because let's say we have our ridership trends that are projected and way out in advance. Then we have our ridership trends that were going on. Then you threw in the pandemic. changed our ridership trends. Unfortunately, there was a period there of uncertainty last year where people would say, "Hey, can you tell me how many people ride at CityLine?" And I said, "Well, are we talking about pre-pandemic or during the pandemic?" I said, "Let's not talk about during the pandemic numbers. Let's act like that never happened, and what we plan on getting back to." I'm sure that this information has been updated, going into more of a micro, like where along the line exactly everyone's be coming from and going to. That is information that unless anyone on my team has updated information that I can share as a link, I don't have anything off the top of my head, but that's something I can come back and share with you to get you the most up-to-date information.
Great.
Hi, Chris. It's me. It's
Hey,
Christine.
Hey, Christine.
I'm the holder of the Q&A for most of the project, guys. And the stats have been updated. However, the trend has not changed very much. It might be by a few numbers. In this area, I don't think there was a huge change at all from what it was previously.
Thank you so much, Christine. Yeah, she's with our PMOR group, and her archive in her mind of all the Q&A is so impressive. I always feel so great having her in my corner. But there you go. There's the answer.
Very good. Thank you.
And I just want to let everyone know that the one email that was not on that presentation, we had the general email, and then we had my work phone number. And like I've told people, my work number until I get back to the office, that's actually not the best way to get a hold of me. But like in my introduction, I'm not just working on the Silver Line. I am the representative for Richardson, and I've worked with many people here in different ways over the years, and I hope to get to know everyone in some way, shape, or form. But you can always email me directly at cwalters@dart.org. And so about anything Richardson related, Silver Line or the Red and Orange Line. So if you have any issues going on there with bus stops, with Arapahoe Station, whatever is going on, just so you know, I'm not just the guy who presents Silver Line. My goal is to help you all with anything going on with DART there in the city. So please feel free to reach out to me.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate your time today and that informative presentation. We've got just a few minutes left here, so I was going to turn it over to John for an economic development update.
Sure. Well, this Growth Mobility Committee has a tradition of giving a little update on the Richardson economy at the end. And certainly, I'd like to pass around a list of all the expansions and relocations that we've announced so far this year, but there really haven't been any, which is very surprising because in other years, in recent years, there have been somewhere between 5 to 10 expansion relocations. The good news is that we have several projects that are in the works, and we do expect some announcements coming very soon of some very exciting expansions and relocations. One of the things that some of you have heard about, there was a press release about UT Dallas moving 5 of their research operations into what we used to call the StarTech building over on Collins. And that is be a tremendous addition to the innovation quarter and really help spur the development and usage of that facility that the city is upgrading and turning into practically a new building inside and out. So very excited about that activity that's going on. Some of the things that we're hearing are, and we're actually seeing, we have more out-of-state prospects that we're working with right now than I can recall at any time that I've been here. It's just, it seems like everybody's coming to Texas, and not only California, but the rest of the country seems to be catching on to that. Also, something that we're seeing a lot more of are light manufacturing projects. And I wish we had more land to do that with, but goodness gracious, the land prices in Richardson have gotten to the point where it's difficult to justify building a flex building or a light industrial building. We have a few left, and I think we'll have tenants for those very quickly. Some of our companies are going back to work. We're going to see some reoccupancy of some of the offices. State Farm had a press release out last week that talked about they're offering most of their employees a hybrid work option so that they'll be able to do some combination of work from home and work at the office. At CityLine, where State Farm has 8,700 employees, they expect that most of those employees will opt for the hybrid option. So, and that all goes into effect in July. So come July, you'll see a lot more State Farm people activity at CityLine, but probably not the amount that you saw before the pandemic. The other thing that we're hearing is that a lot of the larger companies are being very cautious about going back, and they're looking maybe at the end of the summer to start putting their people back in buildings, where the small and medium-sized companies have already done that, and they've got folks back in the office. I can see the two Scots there, Morris and Jessen, they're back in the office already. so we got that thing working. We're having, I think most of you are familiar with the Richardson core, which is the Main Street area that's undergoing renovation and redevelopment and new activity. And we're having our first meeting of some of the stakeholders later this month to talk about some form of maybe a business association that would provide a mutual benefit to a lot of the tenants in there, which will be restaurants and retail for the most part. So anyway, lots of things going on, and hopefully by the time we meet again, we'll have some of those exciting announcements to tell you about. And that's all I have, Tyler.
All right, thank you, John. Appreciate the update, and it's 11 o'clock, so we're going to get off here, but we just want to thank everybody again for joining us today, and big thanks to Chris for the update on the Dart Silver Line. I know we're all really excited about that. So we just thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing y'all at the next Growth and Mobility Luncheon. Thank you all.